better than you think. Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day, and today I've got a very exciting build to showcase for you with a skill I don't really see anyone using at all. And after you're done watching this video, maybe you too might be using this very slept on monk ability. So if you couldn't tell by the title and maybe the thumbnail, the skill ability that we are going to be talking about today is Siphoning Strike. This skill not only gives you a +6 to melee range, which makes zooming through packs of enemies feel like a goddamn breeze, it also comes with inbuilt knockback on hit and also inbuilt stun build-up on hit as well, making this ability a great candidate for both mapping and bossing, because if you're constantly knocking and stunning the enemies, they can never get to you and hit you, meaning you technically cannot die. Now, Siphoning Strike is no light hitter either. It brings a whopping 433% base attack damage to the table. Now, it might not be the strongest monk skill out there. I think Ice Strike and Tempest Flurry, the final strikes, are definitely a lot stronger than just the base damage of Siphoning Strike. But hey, having 433% base attack damage at level 25 is definitely nothing to laugh at. Now, this build ain't no Flicker Strike, but holy shit, does this build move quickly. We have very fast tier 15 and tier 16 clear speeds. Haven't done a tier 17 yet. I'm working on that, but I'm assuming we're probably just going to be clearing through that all the same. And bossing with this setup feels pretty good as well. We are up to +3 bosses now, so all the bosses you're seeing on screen have +3 difficulty. I feel like we're taking them down fairly quickly in my opinion, especially for a homebrew build from a noob like myself. This is definitely still a work in progress. I think it could be 10 times better, but for now, he's doing the job, boys. Now, this build is mainly an update on my Wink Stun Monk build that I did do about 5 days ago, so I'm not going to go over everything again in detail, just to try and keep this video as short as possible. I will also pop that Mobalytics build planner down in the comment section below, so you guys can refer to that build planner instead of coming back to this video like a million times. Alright, so enough piss farting around, let's jump straight into the video. So before we get into everything, I will just mention this build in total costs 2 divine. 2 divine. You can actually probably set this up with 1. In fact, I only just recently got this ring, and I hadn't even set it up properly, so some of the clips you're going to see, it doesn't even look like I'm using this ring because I forgot to change my supports around on Herald of Ice. So that just goes to show that you don't actually need this ring, but now that this ring is working, I feel like a friggin' idiot. Our map speed clears have increased tremendously. I'm just mentioning that now just because I know a lot of people are a bit frustrated with how expensive everything is on the market. This build is gonna cost you no more than 2 divine. 1 divine is the ring and the other divine is the weapon. Everything else probably cost me like 1 to 5 exalt. That's it. Nothing fancy here, fellas. I'm pretty much broke in this game as well. Don't worry, I'm on the same page. So I will just go over the skills and then I'll go over the supports for you. So we do have Siphoning Strike, Combat Frenzy, Charge Staff, Tempest Bell, Herald of Ice, Staggering Palm, Wind Dancer, Herald of Ash, and then also Ghost Dance. For the supports we are running with Siphoning Strike, we have Martial Tempo, we have Concentrated Effect, we have Cold Infusion, and then I also have Inspiration. And if we did have the 5 link, we'd probably put Primal Armament in. And just so you can see, obviously Inspiration isn't giving me any damage. With 25% increased elemental damage, boom, we get an extra 7, is that 7k? Yeah, pretty much 7k extra damage, insane increase to our damage. So if you do have the 5 link, put in Primal Armament, it's going to increase your damage exponentially. Combat Frenzy, nothing changed here, still running Profusion. Charge Staff, we got Perpetual Charge, we got Strip Away, we got Cold Exposure, and we also got Ice Bite. Tempest Bell, a few things have changed here. I'm running Ruthless, which is going to give every 5th hit of our bells 500% more stun build up. Since I am going for this kind of stun gimmick with my build, this definitely has helped a lot getting additional stuns on bosses. I have also got Overabundance here. I would ideally like to put 2 Tempest Bells on my hotbar, but I'm a little full up here, so overabundance has definitely helped. It increases the limit of Tempest Bell by 1. So if you put the bell on top of the boss and you just keep hitting the bell, you do hit the boss through the bell. So it's very easy to just build up another 4 combo point to drop another bell, and you can just keep recycling your bells very easily like that, and as long as your mana can handle it. We are running Rage Forged, and we are also using Heavy Swing. You're probably wondering why I'm using Rage Forge. How am I getting Rage? Well, over in the passive tree, I will explain this when we get to the passive tree, is I am using a ruby jewel that does give us 1 rage on melee hit. So that is how we're getting rage. It's fairly easy just to build up rage with this. And then the best bit about having that rage build up on the ruby jewel is you save a support socket in the support section for your skills, technically giving you, more damage. For Herald of Ice, I've got magnified effect, super critical, and then also cold mastery. For staggering palm, we have scatter shot, lightning infusion, ricochet, and then also persistence. The only thing that changes, I put lightning infusion here and I put the cold infusion on Siphoning Strike. The main reason I put lightning infusion here, as you can see, if I take this off, you can see that I lose about 900 DPS, which is pretty substantial at that low DPS range. So that is the main reason why I got lightning infusion. Yeah, this seems to give me the most amount of damage increase for staggering palm. For Wind Dancer, I've got blind and I've also got maim. For Herald of Ash, I've got cannibalism. I'm not really sure what else to put with Herald of Ash, but I feel like cannibalism does help my survivability. Ghost Dance, we've got clarity, and then I've also got fast forward. All right, so now moving on over to the gear. I feel like by now most people know what they need to take with the monk to have your monk succeed. If you don't, use that Mobilix build planner as a reference. I will put a lot of stats on there that everyone else has pretty much recommended that you need to take with monk, because I definitely don't have the best rolled gear. I'm fucking far from it. My most expensive item, like I said before, is the ring and this staff, and I feel like I overpaid for this staff, so you might be able to pick something up like this for much cheaper than I did, which was 1 divine. I will still just scan over everything if you guys just want to pause and have a look. I'm just mainly prioritizing evasion rating, a little bit of energy shield, try and get those resistances. I've got +2 to level of all melee skills on my gloves. I would have also liked attack speed on my gloves. Don't have that. It's a much better roll, a much more expensive item. You can also get crit chance, crit damage bonus, I think, on your gloves too. Like, you can get an insanely good rolled pair of gloves that can really improve the amount of damage that your build does. And I have just prioritized like life and mana, just because you don't really get life and mana anywhere else besides your bits of gear. So it's nice to take that just to give yourself a little bit more survivability, and so you don't have to micromanage your mana as much when you're spamming the shit out of your abilities. And the stats for anyone that is curious, there's my life, energy shield, mana, spirit. My evasion rating is 78%. I've got armor, and we've got our resistances finally all capped out except for chaos. I don't really mind too much about chaos. Chaos is pretty hard to get resistances for anyway. My biggest tip is if you're taking the enemies down faster than they can kill you, resistances don't matter. No, if you can cap out on chaos, you'd be much better off. Now moving on over to the passive skill tree, not too much has changed here. This is very similar to a lot of other people's setup now. I've still gone pretty heavy down here. I've added more into the crit section. I did have the 2 points into knockback distance and stun build up by 20%. I had these 2 little nodes here. We don't need that anymore now we're using Siphoning Strike. We had too much stun build up. I couldn't keep the Staggering Palm Wind buff active as often as I would like through mapping. So I took this off and it just feels so much better, which means we had 2 extra points. So now we are putting stuff into crit damage and crit chant. So then we can take Moment of Truth. Moment of Truth will actually boost us by like another 2.5k damage, which is going to be very nice. And then also I can grab another bit of attack speed if I need it, which I feel like I might take this because it is going to give us another 1.5k increase attack damage. If you guys don't know, attack speed, crit damage, attack damage, spell damage if you're doing spells, that will all increase your overall damage on your tooltip of your abilities. So as you can see, we're running 75,000 DPS. When we have rage going and we're nuking through enemies, this does go as high as I think 115,000 damage if I'm correct. So we're rocking a fair bit of damage when we do have all our other bonuses in effect. And that all comes down to taking attack speed. As you can see, attack speed increases your damage. Taking crit chance, attack damage, physical damage, spell damage, elemental damage, all that good jazz all comes together to give you more attack damage. Some give more than others. Just check the tooltip here to see what is giving you more, because more times than none, more damage is good. I do feel like my skill tree is now looking a lot like a lot of other monk builds, unfortunately. It just does really feel like the most optimal way to play. The one thing I will mention is I don't see a lot of other people mention. I think Don the Crown had a fantastic video talking about the jewels and the passive trees and how to get the most amount out of your damage. But I will mention it here as well, just in case anyone doesn't know the information. All the rubies, the emerald, and the sapphire, the jewels that you can slot in, further improve your damage by quite a bit. So as you can see here, we're running more attack damage. This jewel alone is giving me 5,000 extra damage. Obviously it's already calculating already. This would just be if I had another jewel like this one in, it would give me 5,000 extra damage. And that is because I have extra attack damage and melee damage. Over here on my jewel, you can see that I've got attack damage. I've also got increased skill effect duration. This helps with both charged staff, the staggering palm wind buff. If you don't know, when we prime an enemy for stun, we use staggering palm and you get a wind buff for about 14 seconds. But I have increase the skill effect duration to about 20 seconds, which makes it much more manageable through maps, and you can just keep blasting enemies. So you don't have to worry about micromanaging that buff as often, which has made the map clearing speeds a lot quicker. And so then I've got another ruby over here, more stun, attack, skill effect duration. I've got an emerald over here, which gives us increased crit chance, attack damage, more projectile damage, which works with the staggering palm wind buff. As you can see though, these jewels aren't really that great. They have some good bonuses on them, but they're not exactly the perfect role jewels. Plus you can get timeless jewels as well, which will illuminate an area and give other nodes that you've taken in that area bonuses. So the jewels are just absolutely insane, and they can really scale your damage up a lot higher. And something else that makes a massive difference to your damage, and I think is one thing that you should prioritize if you do have the funds to do, is get yourself a good weapon, because your weapon accounts for like 70 to 80% of your damage. So if I switch my weapon, watch my Siphoning Strikes DPS fall off a cliff. Boom. All gone. Literally 80% of my DPS fucking evaporated. It's insane how much DPS a good weapon can give. Obviously your supports make a big difference as well, like this cold infusion. If I take this cold infusion off, I lose 15,000 damage, which is insane. And then you can see concentrated effect also removes quite a large chunk of damage as well. That 40% increase is doing wonders. But I would highly recommend, if you want to learn more about this and have someone explain it to you much better than I fucking can, I will pop a link also probably in the comment section to Don the Crown's video telling you how you can get 300,000 damage on Ice Strike, because man, that video taught me a lot. There were still some things that I even didn't know, and now it's helped me improve my build a hell of a lot. Now for the ascendancies, unfortunately I don't have my 4th ascendancy yet. I'm working on it. We're trying to do the Trial of Chaos. It's all RNG based. It fucking sucks trying to do it solo. But if we did have the 4th ascendancy, I'd probably go Sunder my enemies, or maybe Unbound Avatar for even quicker boss kills. And that is basically it for the build video, guys. Hopefully this build video did help you out. What do you think of this build? What do you think of Siphoning Strike? Let me know down in the comment section. I'm keen to hear your guys' thoughts. I still can't believe this build even friggin' worked. I was just testing out Siphoning Strike and it just felt really good, so I just did a build around it and it worked way better than I could ever imagine. All right, so I'm going to wrap shit up here. Appreciate all the love and support as always, guys. Until next time, stay safe. Peace out.